everybody. We are coming to our DO Kids via Google Meet today with an interview with Nancy Garber, who is a former educator herself, but she is also a personal trainer. So Nancy, give us a little backstory about yourself, like your bio a little bit, where you're from, what you've been doing, what your background is a little bit.
Well, I that's a good question. I grew up in a really small town, and there weren't any girls' sports around. I and am of an age before girls' sports, so I didn't really get much sports, growing up through high school or even college. But then once I graduated college, I started getting more into biking and eventually discovered running and weightlifting. And I was not always a healthy person or a fit person, but I kind of made myself into that. I was a teacher of English and French and language arts over the course of about 40 years. And I also got my personal training certification about, I don't know, 25 years or so ago. And had my own business. I still have my business. I'm retired from teaching, but still am doing my personal training here in my home.
That's awesome. Obviously I knew that you were an English and language arts teacher, but I didn't know that you taught French.
Yeah, that was actually my major. And
Really?
yeah, and so I taught that for about 8 years before I came to our district 300, and they didn't need any French teachers, but they needed English teachers, and that's how I got my job.
Interesting. The things you learn. See?
I know, but but through all that, I was doing my training too, my personal training. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, and then in terms of my um, events and so forth, I've run I think 7 marathons and only one ultra marathon, 150K. I have run hundreds of 10Ks, 5Ks, half marathons, that sort of thing. So,
And Nancy, I gotta ask, you said initially or early on you didn't find yourself to be a healthy person,
no.
but here you are running everything from 5K to 50K.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe the transformation, the metamorphosis? What changed? Was like a series of events, one event? Like, can you kind of describe that for us?
That's another really good question. I probably came out of college. I was smoking. I drank a little too much and came out of college probably 20 or 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. And probably about my second or third year of teaching, I saw a picture of myself standing next to a friend, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that me? And it really motivated me to do something about my weight. So I went to Weight Watchers, and I tell people this now, and they think, "Oh my God, you did Weight Watchers," but that's how I learned a lot about nutrition. And over the course of a year, I took that weight off, and then shortly after that, I was watching a TV program about a woman who she was a mom in New York, and she trained for the New York Marathon. And I just was really inspired by that TV show, and I probably put down my beer and put out my cigarette, and I just went out and kind of ran to the end of the block and back, and that was that was the beginning of it all. I just kept going further and further, and lots of times I did it at night because people weren't doing that then, running a lot. But then I got hooked in with the group, and I just kind of went from there. So
I
that was it. A movie, a picture, and also our family has a history of early death by heart attack, and I did not want that to happen to me.
I didn't know any of that either, Nan. Your background about how you
Mm-hmm.
started. That's interesting. And to see, it's hard to tell just from looking at Nancy's face right here in the Zoom meeting. But can I share your age, Nan?
Sure.
She's 68, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll be 69 in October.
One of the most fit people that I've ever met in my life. she could run circles around me. We both lived in the same town, and when I was training for my marathon, I made her come running with me on my long runs a couple times. And she can run circles around me. She's just like such an inspiration and such a motivation, motivational force for so many people. You're so awesome. I just totally admire and respect you. You're the perfect person for this interview.
Well, I appreciate that. And I have to tell you, though, people like you motivate me too, because I get super motivated by helping other people and seeing them flourish and shine. So back at you, girl.
That's awesome. So we got a bunch of questions for you from our kiddos. I got a couple of really good ones from my class. But we're going to just kind of take turns asking you some questions. Let's go ahead and start with their first question was, what type of certification do you need to be a personal trainer? Is there more than one option? And then how did you choose if there was more than one option?
There are several options, and there are 3 main certifying groups that I am aware of. And 2 of them require a bachelor's degree in PE or some sort of health-related field. Do you want me to name them, or is that?
Sure, you can name them.
One of them is, I have to, now you're putting me on the spot, think about NASM, National Strength and Conditioning Association. There's the National Medical, what is I wrote them down. National Association of Sports Medicine. Those 2 require degrees in the health-related field or PE. I got mine through the American Council on Exercise, which does not require a degree in a health-related field. So that was really my only option because my degree was in something else. There are other certifying agencies, but those are really the top 3, the most respected ones.
So there's the ACE, right?
It's ACE, NASM, and let's see, NASM, NSCA, and ACE.
Okay, got you.
So for ACE, what I was able to do, and what you can do, is take coursework, and then you pass their written test, and now they have a practical test that goes with that. Another option would be, I know that there are personal training programs at community colleges. So I know, like up here, McHenry County College has one, and I did take some classes there when I got mine. But generally for me, I had like 20 years experience running and working out that I could take and add in learning about the anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, that sort of thing. Program design. But yeah, the community college track would give you the background you need plus prep for a test.
Awesome.
That sports and conditioning one is very impressive. It's I've looked in. I got the NASM one.
Yeah.
Sports medicine, which was I did it all self study or whatever, and like that's cool. You kind of just I'm good at taking a test and passing a test or whatever. But the sports and conditioning one, they definitely make the bar a lot higher for those.
Yeah, that's like the gold standard. Yeah, but the other ones too are really good. I mean, ACE, I see ACE mentioned in professional articles, all the time, and like I say, it was the only option I had because at that time I'm like 40 years old and I don't want to go back to college and get a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, and again, it's kind of similar to what we tell kids about going to college. Like once you graduate and you have experience, no one cares where you go to college. You know what I'm saying? I was like, are you serious? I mean, all this time I was working with you and I lost all this weight and I got faster. You work for ACE. You had an ACE certification the whole time. I can't believe it. We're done. Like no one would do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're working with other people, how do you tailor specific programs for different people? Like what factors do you look at and what do you work at to like help them achieve their goals?
Well, it is personal training, so it is geared to each and every person. So the first thing I want to do is get to know the person. And so I have a regular tool that I use to assess. It's, obviously height, weight, but we look at their medical history. Do they have high blood pressure? Are they obese? Do they have neck injuries, knees, hips? What are the special conditions that they might have? What is their age? I've worked with kids that are 12 and 13 up to adults that are in their 90s. And so age is, age is huge. Their goals, what do they want to achieve in this? Is it an athletic? Do they want to get better for a sport? Do they want to lose weight, be more flexible, rehab from an injury? Those are all things that I look at. I do a physical testing too, which might be body composition. Although I kind of got away from that because if people are overweight, you don't need to tell them, oh yeah, you're like 30% or 40% fat. We don't need to know that. But I have them do push-ups if they can, or chest presses if they can't. Getting up and down off a chair. How many times can you do that in a minute? Mile test on the treadmill. I have certain physical things. We look at their resting heart rate. And then through all of that, I try to put together an individualized program for them. And I always start with the core, though, because if your middle is weak, the rest of it is not, you're setting yourself up for injury. So my clients, no matter what their goals are, always start with an appropriate core strengthening workout. So I get to know them pretty well, and then try to design things that work. And then we go splat with that. Here's what I have. We put it out and we work with it. Some things work, some things don't. We might have to modify, certain exercises because, I forgot to tell you about my shoulder. Oh, okay. Now we're doing, maybe some rehab work on the shoulder, something like that. And it's always changing depending on what they need. So it's important, if you're going to be a personal trainer, that you have a wide knowledge of the muscles and joints, and that you're in tune with your people, and paying attention to what they're saying, and being willing to kind of adjust on the fly. If this doesn't work, I have 3 more different ways we can do this same exercise. So
I think that's where I struggle sometimes too, is like, you kind of get your favorite exercises for people that you have in your brain. And then I'm like, oh, that's not working. What's another way I can do this? You know what I mean? I think that takes a lot of experience and repetition.
Yeah, it does.
To have other exercises in your back pocket that you can pull out, lickety to adjust or modify.
Well, you haven't asked about this, but this is a good time to throw it in, is there's a lot of professional development that goes on. You don't just pass and get your certificate. You have to upgrade and maintain your skills. So, I'm always reading or taking classwork and trying to get some of those skills that find, the finer skills. Let's say working with special populations, older adults maybe, or people with osteoporosis or cancer or pregnancies.
All so different, and all require different programming and different skill sets from you, for sure.
So it's you have to be kind of flexible and always vigilant, because the last thing you want to do is injure someone, or make their injury worse.
Right. Absolutely.
cross my fingers. As far as I know, I've not ever injured myself or others. So I feel good
That's a
about
good
that.
streak. That's a great streak.
Yeah. Nance, why did you become a personal trainer? Like you started teaching English and French and language arts. Like
I know.
I know that you kind of got on your own personal track of, like personal betterment and getting back in shape. But then like, when did you flip the switch between wanting to do it for yourself and being like, you know what? I might want to do this for other people too.
I took a leave of absence from my teaching job for 2 years to work on my master's degree. I just was having a hard time getting it finished while I was teaching. So my school district offered up, that you could take a leave. They would pay for your master's if you took the leave. So I did. And most of my classes were in the evening. And so, my kids were at school and I thought, maybe I should get a little part-time job. So I got a job at the rec center where I worked out. And so, I'm behind the counter, I'm folding towels, washing towels, wiping down equipment, you know how that goes, handing out little cards. And one of the jobs I had though was to, if people were new members, take them around and show them how all the equipment worked. And I just love that, setting them up, showing them proper form. And then I would see these other people kind of over there, and they're over there with I didn't even know what they were. I said, who are those people and what are they doing? I did not even know that there was such a job as a personal trainer, to be honest with you. That's how. So they said, oh, yeah, those are our trainers. I'm like, you mean they get paid to do this? And they said, yeah, like 3 times more than you're making right now. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So then I talked to my boss and I said, Judy, do you think maybe I could try what they're doing? I said, I think I'd really like that. And she said, yeah, more than 99% of the people in this place. So if you will go get your certification, I will start giving you clients. So that's kind of how I got started.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
But it's kind of like I'm a person who loves helping people. I mean, I'm a helper. We all are in the teaching world, right? And my passion is health and fitness. And it was a way for me to share my passion with other people that really wanted to hear it. Believe it or not, students in your classroom do not always want to hear what you have to say, but they, I just love that. And then also my thought is, if a person does not have their health, what do they have? You could be the richest person, you can be the smartest person, but if you're not healthy and feeling good, what the heck, So it was really just really fit in with who I am as a person and what I believe in.
I struggle so much when I hear about districts having talks about potentially cutting PE programs. I'm like, we just have this so backwards. Again, if you don't have your health, or we have nothing. Really.
Yeah, or just the way it can help you.
$1 million job doesn't mean much when you're sitting in a hospital bed because you suffered a heart attack, or
exactly, or you're dead. To put it
right.
Quickly.
People at the end of their life don't want more money.
No.
They want more health, more time.
Yeah.
And then working out gives you both of those.
Yeah. And this may sound kind of funny, but somewhere in my 40s, my goals somewhat shifted to, I really want to be able to play on the floor with my grandkids or my dog or whatever, and I don't have grandkids, but I have grandnieces and nephews, and I can play on the floor with them and, run around with them. And it's a way to enhance your life.
One of the bigger challenges for a lot of people is, how do they get their workout in, when they work, when they're at school, As a person who you're still an educator, right?
Yeah.
And you're a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage to still get your workout in? Is it,
Mm-hmm.
how do you manage to get over that obstacle?
Yeah. When I was working at the gym, I would start at 6 a.m. I would open the place up at 6. And so I would get there at 5 and I would get my workout in then. I sometimes did some things with my clients, but I realized after a short time, I'm going to burn out if I try to, work out 5 or 6 hours a day. I also didn't work every day, so I was able to, to get it in there. But when I was teaching and doing it full time, it was a struggle. But typically, I would get it in before school because that would give me the energy for the day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would get up early and do it in the morning. But it's a lot of people say they don't have time to exercise. And I would challenge that because I also had 2 kids besides the teaching and the training, and you have to find time to prioritize and do the things that, even though you have competing priorities, what's the number one?
Right. And what's the number 2 and what's the number 3?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Because we live in a world of distraction,
Mm-hmm.
and the distractions that we have are very powerful. They're engineered to distract us for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I sound now. I know I'm an adult because these cell phones these days. Like I know, but like if a person is on the fence about doing an hour-long workout, it don't take long for there to only be 40 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, I don't have enough time. Oh darn, more
Yeah.
Instagram. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
Or whatever. And you do have to, like you said, I like the way you said it, competing priorities. You got to make the one that you want to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And the other thing too is, let's say your hour went to 40 minutes. Well, even if you can get 10 to 15 minutes of something, like some days when I know I can't do something for an hour, I'll do squats and push-ups for 15 minutes and feel
Right.
like, you know, I've had a
Yeah,
decent
boost.
workout.
You still get the boost.
Yeah.
How about diet? Do you do you have a nutritionist, or do you do your own meal plans, or how's that work?
As a trainer, I do not provide nutritional information because that is outside of my scope of practice. And so if you hire a trainer that says they're going to give you a nutrition plan, make sure that they do have the right certification. Um, but that said, I learned a lot about nutrition, like I said, from Weight Watchers. I have had clients on certain meal plans from the doctor, so I kind of tune into those. I have a really good friend, and I think Mrs. Warner, you know her, Irene Cook. She's a nutrition
She's
person that
amazing.
gives me. She is, and so every trainer needs a trainer. She's my trainer when I
What
need
about
her.
as an athlete? Like you yourself as an athlete, how about your diet? Like,
Oh, my
do you,
diet? Yeah,
yeah.
I know I do my own planning. But I plan it around my macronutrients. Depending on if I'm training for something, I might beef up the carbs, or if I want to gain some strength, maybe the protein. I do not use nutritional shakes though, and I don't use supplements or.
Whole Foods.
Yeah, I use Whole Foods. But yeah, it's all around lean meats, grains, fruits,
You
vegetables.
literally sound like the fitness gospel. Like
I do.
you're like best habits, best habits, best habits, best practice. Like it's so awesome to see a person who's been living this out for
Uh-huh.
20 plus years, and to see like the vibrant energy that you have, and the passion that you have, at like where we can be if we were to continue to instill those habits ourselves.
Oh yeah. Because once you get it, you don't want to go back. You know what I mean? And that's how I know a client has arrived, is when they say, oh, I ate this or that, or I didn't do my workout this or that day. And you know what? I felt horrible the whole day. And so, you know, kind of, not buying into the lifestyle, but arriving at a place
Making it
where,
their new norm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's you,
Yeah.
it's you now,
Yeah.
I always say it's a lifetime sentence and no parole.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, Nance, with like I say this like with, quotation marks around it, with like a success rate for you
Uh-huh.
that's like so dependent on other people's behaviors or follow through, how do you keep them motivated? Like, how do you keep them going? Because I feel like so much of it, for me, if I was a personal trainer, that good feeling comes from seeing their success or seeing them happy,
Mm-hmm.
with the changes that they're making. How do you keep them motivated and despite the
The
control
human
really is in
nature.
their court, so it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. Motivation is an issue, but for me, the key to motivation is knowing why. I mean, that's the big word, is why. Why am I doing this? And so we set that up at the beginning. Why am I doing it? And it's a specific thing too. I don't know if you talk about SMART goals with your class, but we set that up and just really hone in on the why. And I always bring it somehow, try to work that into their session if I can feel their energy is kind of waning or whatever. So always getting back to the why. That to the side. Things that are motivating to people might be working with a partner. Some of my most faithful clients have been those that have one or two people that they work out with. Keeping a journal, writing down what you do. Having a calendar. I know some people like to, if they're waning at, okay, let's get a calendar. And you cross it off as you do it. I have one person that I'm working with now, and I've used this with other people too, is she'll text me a thumbs up after she does her workout, and then I send her back, the strong arm. And that's all it takes, to
Just checking in,
keep her.
accountability of some
It
sort
is.
for
It's
somebody.
a lot of accountability. Yeah.
Hey, Nancy, do you ever get angry or frustrated with your clients when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing or following through?
Can I ask you the question back? Do you ever get angry or frustrated with your students who
Yes.
don't do what they're supposed to do?
Yes, I do.
No.
Yes. So we have to channel that energy in some way. So, yeah, it happens. I would say not angry.
Yeah.
Not angry. Frustrated, yes.
Yeah.
But then that's where my little bag of tricks has to come in, and I'd have to try something else. Kind of like when you have a student that's not doing their homework, you might sit down and like, what's going on? What can I do? What can you do? Because it's a two-way street here. And, I feel like I'm doing all the work. Come on, so
Help me help you.
me. Yeah, help me.
Totally.
Yeah. So those are some of the things, but typically once people stick with it for a couple months, they get to that point where it's like I said before, I feel better when I'm doing something than not doing something. And then it becomes an internal motivation. Another thing I will mention too is the name of my business is Inner Strength. And that I developed out of a sense of I really feel like every person, no matter who they are, has it inside to do it, to do what they want to do, accomplish their goals. But sometimes they need a little help, getting that out. And so one thing that I find is motivating to other people is just to remind them, that they they can do it. And so even a simple thing like we're doing an exercise and maybe the goal is 10 reps and they're at 8 and they'll say, where am I? And I'll be like, 2 more. Or even if I've forgotten the count, well, where am I? 2 more, and it's always like, I can't do it. But then they do it, and then it's like, wow, it's those kinds of things maybe within a workout even that are really motivating for people.
That's awesome. Got the next one, Coach?
I was wondering, like, as a personal trainer, like, how do you decide your pay? Right now, that was a big a decision for me, but now you've been in the game for a long time. Does it fluctuate based on how many clients you have or how many hours you work? Like, how does the pay scale work?
When I started in 1997, I worked for a rec center, and they charged, I think it was $25 per session. And out of the $25, I got $12, which, ouch. But
yeah.
They were providing the clients. Until I got a start, and then people would see you working out with people and they go, oh, I would like a trainer like that. People watch you. There's word of mouth. You eventually, get more clients. So I did that for a year.
Yep.
And then one day somebody asked me, another friend asked me, do you ever do sessions in your home? And I said, sure. And really, I didn't. I worked out myself there. And I figured I can take you through a workout too. So then my pay was $15 an hour. So I was cheaper than the gym, but was making more for myself and working at home. So my commute was down the stairs. You know what I'm saying? So then, just kind of went from there. And I would raise my rates, every couple of years. And then about 10 years ago, my rate became $60 an hour. And I've just kept it the same thing, all this time. So, and then if I have doubles working, they might each pay, 45 or something like that. So it can be more.
So I'd like to ask a follow-up to that. Obviously, like the pay that you've received, knowledge you're continually professionally developing. Has the job of personal trainer also expanded since you first started? Like your responsibilities to a client, has that also expanded, or do you think it's always been the same?
I feel like I've stayed the same, really. But I also came into it thinking this is sort of a holistic thing. It's not just slinging dumbbells around. I mean, it's way more than that. It's you become a friend, a confidant, a therapist, although you can't, it's not you can't call yourself these things, but you become a listener, a sounding board. People tell you their troubles. And so it's kind of always been that way because from the get-go, I was just really concerned about people's success and them as a person, and to be able to help, however I could safely, not give never give advice, but listen, just like a counselor might.
I think that speaks volumes about people finding a trainer that's right for them, because it is, I feel like your trainer kind of knows the ugliest parts of you, like your follow through, your struggles, where you feel the most vulnerable and you don't want to be judged, because you're not good at this, or you're insecure about how you look when you work out, so I feel like it's so important for somebody to find the personal trainer for them.
Exactly.
Because you really just, they're going to find out a lot of a lot of stuff
Yeah,
about you that you're
right.
maybe not comfortable with because you again, if you knew how to do it on your own, you'd be doing it on your own, so
Right. It's not that people
it's
don't know
important.
what to do.
The
Right.
personal
It's
trainer you choose is
yeah.
so important.
And
And
some
so
people,
good for you.
yeah, it is. It is. It goes both ways. That
Yeah.
personal choice. And there's some people that wouldn't like me as a trainer,
Yeah.
probably. And people that I might not work out so well with. Because if they're just the type that wants to get in, do the workout, go home, that would be hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like the personal connection aspect.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
do.
dynamic has to be a really special.
Yeah, it's a relationship,
Mhm.
so there has to be chemistry there.
Yeah. Okay. Coach, I think number 9 kind of already touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
How do you track a client's progress? Is it more about how they feel, the strength that they gained, the amount of weight that they lost?
It's all of that, but I keep records. I do that initial assessment I talked about, and then every 3 months or so, kind of redo those so they can see strength gain, weight lost, and how they feel too. I mean, have they made progress toward their goals on a scale of 0 to 10? How was your day? Track that. If that's sort of going up, hopefully is tracking upwards, feeling better and better, as time goes on. I try not to use weight though so much because I think there's a lot of unhealthiness around that number on the scale. And to be honest with you, I weigh probably 15 pounds more than I probably look because muscle weighs more than fat does. You know what I mean? So you've got that fluffy pound of fat shrinks down to, a pound of muscle. So you're going to lose inches. So how are your clothes fitting? That's what I like. How are your clothes fitting? How are you feeling inside? Can you perform your daily activities with vigor and energy? Can you play with your kids or, how's your life? Not so much, oh, I can bench press, 200 pounds or something.
He's more into that functional aspect, which we talk
Yeah.
a lot about in class.
Yeah.
So functional
Yeah.
exercise, like you had mentioned
Definitely.
earlier. Can
And-
you get on the ground with your kids, or can you get
Right.
up and off of the toilet without tweaking your knee?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Putting, when I was working with my class of 90-year-olds, it would be movements. Can you still get the dishes out of the dishwasher and reach up to put them into the cabinet, or that get clothes out of the washer and dryer? So it's
Suddenly those goals become a lot different and change.
yeah, I was just gonna say goals change.
Changes. Yeah. All right. Are you ready for the speed round, Nance?
Oh boy. Okay.
All right. We're going to do rapid fire, whatever comes to your mind first. You can just blurt it out. Yep. Get yourself hydrated. Here we go. Cardio or weights?
Oh, I'd have to say this right away. Oh my God. Weights.
Weights. All right.
Mhm.
Favorite exercise?
Push up.
Okay. Least favorite exercise?
Burpees.
Oh, that's the second time. A firefighter yesterday said burpees, and we had a good laugh about it too. Describe or explore the deep ocean or outer space.
Deep ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Describe a time in your life where you were like, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Running a marathon.
Cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
How many marathons have you done now?
7.
7. Yeah. Warner was one and done. That was like a full-time job for me.
But you need to be a personal trainer, and then you can run with your clients,
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Kettlebell, dumbbell, or barbell?
Ooh, I love those kettlebells.
Do you? All
Yeah.
right. First one to say kettlebell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In all of history, who would you want to go back and meet?
Wow. First person that comes to my mind is JFK. I don't know, that's just the first person that popped in my mind. I'm not sure why.
That's how speed round is played.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Vacation on the beach or in the woods?
Woods.
I knew you were going to say woods. She just got a new house in the woods, coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I already asked you how many marathons. You said 7. How many halves? Have you done any halves?
Oh, 10 or 15.
Yeah. Favorite distance? Favorite race distance?
Whichever one I'm doing now, but
Yeah.
I have marathons good.
Yeah, I like a half marathon too. It's good
Mhm.
count. What's your average mile time right now, Nan?
Right now, depends on how far I'm going.
Yeah.
If I'm just going out to do like a 3-mile run, I could probably click together 10 or 3 10-minute miles.
Yeah.
If
You're doing
I'm
1 mile on the treadmill right now. How fast can you go, Nan? Guess what it
9.5.
means. What's that?
9.5 minutes. If I were going to go all out on a treadmill and there were people there to catch me when I fell off. My forte is endurance, not speed.
I know that's kind of how I am too. So my students will ask, because I will run with them sometimes. They'll be like, Warner, fastest mile time. I'm like, I could probably do a 9.5-minute mile, but I would be like,
yeah, gas for the day.
Your answer should just be today. It's like fastest mile time today.
Oh, well, Nancy, this has been so fun. Thank you for joining us today.
you are
We
so
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was cool.
Yeah. Well, I hope the video turns out because I wasn't paying attention at all.
Oh,
So
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
all right. This was a lot of
Absolutely.
fun for me.
We'll go ahead and wrap the video up right now, and then Nancy can stay on afterwards. But thank you so much for
You
doing
are
that.
so welcome. Loved every second of it.
All right.
From DO and all the students, thank you.